Last night I was texting with my friend Mike a bit about releasing music and being more confident about sharing things, even if they're more casual. Just putting out more music, noodling on guitar or something, just being willing to put out more music. And then I thought about it last night and today. How many songs are released on Spotify every single day? Because that's one of my biggest goals, is to just share more music and put more music out into the world. I want it to be good, and I'm always getting better at music, so that's a hard thing for me to wrestle with is, I want to only put out things that I'm really proud of. But at the same time, you got to be able to just keep moving and putting out music. So I looked up how many songs are released on Spotify every day. The answer is 100,000. There are 100,000 new songs put out on Spotify every day. And I think perhaps that might be something for us to keep in mind when we are being a little too precious about how our music needs to be important or perfect or something. Even if you work really hard for years and you put out a 10-song album, that one day those songs will be 10 out of 100,000 songs released just that day. Never mind the next day. So that means 700,000 a week. Crazy. This is Earth Tones, episode 39. Be kind to your songs. We're going to talk about being a little more kind to yourself and your music, and specifically your songs, which have a life of their own. But first, a sound from our beautiful Earth.
We are going to set these up. But if you want to
That's the sound of the hallway at Symphony Hall in Boston. Last week for the Handel and Haydn Society, Scarlett and I went out for her birthday, and I was waiting for her, and you can hear me whistle gently at the end to let her know that I was standing on the other side of the hallway. And you can hear the hustle and bustle as people ask the ushers for information. I thought that was a pretty cool sound. The Symphony Murmur. All right, for a bit of old news on Earth Tones, episode 39, I have a copy of Guitar Player from January 2014. How about that? January 2014. 12 years ago. This is with Carlos Santana and Randall Smith from Mesa Boogie, talking about the old Mesa Boogie that Carlos Santana had. And he was talking about discovering your tone and how he wanted to have something that could sustain. And so he's talking about his first Mark I Mesa Boogie, the Boogie amplifier, which he called the Budokan because he saw a DVD of himself playing, and he wanted to find what he was playing in that old show, that old Budokan performance, the Boogie amp. And they pulled that out of storage, and he was reunited with it. So the interviewer asks Carlos Santana, how did you find your tone? And Carlos says, a lot of ugly faces and butt puckering. I watched a lot of live performances of Otis Rush, Buddy Guy, and B.B. King. The way you dip yourself into knowing about things now is through Google. But back then, the only way to dip yourself was to go to the south side of Chicago, to places where it was very dangerous. I would have to pay the police in the club. I would say, I'll give you $100 if you just stay close to me and let me get the things I need from Otis Rush. I'd show him the money, and he'd pull a gun out and make sure everyone was looking at it. And then he would put the gun back in real slow and say, okay, stand here next to me and enjoy the show. When it's over, we'll call you a cab and I'll walk you out to it. That was the way for me to access sound, because I had to know what kinds of faces Otis Rush and B.B. King were making. So he makes a big deal about the faces, making those kind of pained expressions as a blues guitar player. So he was a huge fan of those artists, and the only way he could really access it, the real thing, and hear it in a room was to go and see them do the real thing on the south side of Chicago. So that is a bit of old news. Carlos Santana develops his sound by listening. All right, for our main discussion on Earth Tones, episode 39, we're talking about be kind to your songs, being kind to your songs. Are you kind to your songs? I need to be more kind to my songs. Our songs do a lot of things for us, and we've got to give them a chance. All right, here it is. This is what I've written for you for episode 39. Be kind to your songs. We practice our songs. We work them out. We rehearse them. We shape and mold them. We trim them, stretch them, and take them to the woodshed. We put them on the grid. We cut them down. And if we play them well, we say we nailed those songs. If we don't play well, we say, well, let's shelve those songs. Songwriters often talk about songs being like their babies. How can we nurture our songs? How can we give them a brighter future and let them live lives of their own? I'm often working on a song, judging it, deciding if it's good or not. But what if it's not what a song can do for you, but what you can do for a song? And if we bring presence, joy, and love to our songs, what will happen then? And what if our performance of a song is part of the song? How about the recording of the performance of the song? Can we be kind to our recording? Can we be kind to our performance? Can we be kind to a song? And can we be kind to ourselves? That is one of the tricky things, isn't it? So here's one of my new songs, and I'm going to try to be kind to this song. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll play a little bit of the first verse. I'm a man traveling on the road with the world at my feet. I'm the heat rising from the street. I just need a place to go. With my mind made up, I threw it all away. With my mind made up, I learned to love the rain. Learn to love the rain. So that's my song, Mind Made Up, and that's the first time I've sang anything on this podcast. And I told Mike yesterday, I have to stop overthinking things and start just sharing. And even though the process of recording that song might take some twists and turns, I've at least now shared it with you. So thank you for listening. How can I be more kind to that song? How can I say it's good enough as it is? Let's give it a life and let other people be able to experience it and let it go out into the world. Okay, what is on the turntable? Plantasia. Have you ever heard of this? Mother Earth's Plantasia. This is an album of music for plants, and it was reissued a few years ago. I definitely got this several years ago now. Looks like it says 2019 is when it was reissued on vinyl. So this music is created by a composer named Mort Garson, and it was written specifically for plants to listen to help them grow. And the title is called Plantasia, Warm Earth Music for Plants and the People Who Love Them. How it took so long to feature this on this podcast, I'm not sure, but I pulled it off of the stack this week to put it on, and I thought, I should 100% have that on Earth Tones. And so I want to read a little bit from the Wikipedia on Plantasia, Music for Plants. The album had a very limited distribution upon release, only being available to people who bought a houseplant from a store called Mother Earth on Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles, or those who purchased a Simmons mattress from a Sears outlet, both of which came with the record. As a result, the album failed to attain widespread popularity around the time of its release. However, it has since gained a cult following as an early work of electronic music. The actual compositions are fantastic. It's from 1976. The little sticker on it that looks like it kind of matches somewhat the original says the first authorized reissue of Mort Garson's legendary 1976 album of Moog Music for Plants includes the original Mother Earth's indoor plant care booklet. Includes digital download on a real seed paper card, planted and watch it sprout. I'm sure it's still in there. I never knew that. You can plant the download card and grow a plant. I'm sure it's not weed or something I don't want. So, yes, that is a fantastic album worth checking out. I know it's out on Spotify. You can find it if you type in Plantasia, just like Fantasia, but Plantasia, or just music for plants. You will find it. Wonderful, even kind of funky at moments, like classical approach to Moog synthesizer music, but groovy. Kind of almost foreshadowing things that would be like the Hey Arnold type of soundtrack. It's synthesizer stuff, but it's from the mid-'70s, and it's groovy and upbeat. It's music for plants. Something that helped me this week, coming up with a new fingering for a difficult bar in a classical piece. So when you look up the tabs to things, especially if it's classical, they'll have the notation and then the tab underneath. And the tab is just how somebody happened to do it. So I got to a bar that was like, let's see. I'm not looking at the music now. That's what it was. Which I now have a fingering of, but to play it the way that they had written was kind of brutal. I forget exactly what it was. You won't even be able to hear the difference if I played it correctly anyways. But essentially what helped me this week was challenging an existing suggestion in the tab. And just going back to the notation itself and saying, I'm going to just come up with a way that I will be able to finger this and make it better. So when you're learning something, challenge yourself. Play it a few different ways and see if there might be a way that is different from someone else's, but more comfortable for you. All right, friends, that is episode 39. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and listening to, maybe that could be the Earth Tones chord. The Earth Tones podcast here, episode 39. I am Jake Pardee. You can visit jakepardee.com for more information about me and my music, and more information at maritimerecording.com for you and your music. I will see you next week for episode